But I figured I'd go ahead and do the deck profile for our current build for Gogeta. This is a build that I haven't been able to like exactly play. It's missing basically 6 cards, but overall the deck as it is, as you guys have probably seen in other games and stream, it plays the way it's supposed to play. But this weekend we'll be able to actually test out this version that we're going to kind of do like this deck profile for, and then I'm sure we'll make another version that we'll revisit later on. This is also the deck that I intend to play for regionals in October and potentially in Pasadena in November, but we'll see. Things could change by then. So we're going to start off here with, we have 4 copies of Vegeta Combination Attack and Hell. This is like a key card in the package for your Gokus and your Vegetas. You're going to run 4 of these guys. I don't know why you'd ever run any less, unless there's some new version that comes out in the future. It's a very simple card. It's activate main. You pay 1. You get to play them. You draw a card. That's pretty much an easy turn 1 thing that you would do, because then you're going to use this guy. You're going to combo him off on your opponent's turns for the Soul Punisher, which we'll get to later. And then his other effect, when this guy gets sent from your drop to the warp, either through your leader effect, so as in like your Z leader effect, or he gets sent through Veku, or through Soul Punisher, which would happen through Veku. So a whole little chain of effects. But ultimately, when this guy goes from the drop to the warp through either of those effects, you'll be able to search the deck and play a 3-drop yellow Goku, which you have 2 options currently, and they're both pretty good. The next, we have the Goku Combination Attack and Hell. This is kind of like the sister-brother card to the Vegeta. It's just yellow. Does the same thing. You pay 1, you play the Goku, he draws you a card. This one is a yellow. You'll probably never like just play this guy to draw 1. Probably. It all depends on whether you have the multicolor energy or not. Generally speaking, I try to get multicolor energy in my energy area, because our leader, if you have a multicolored Saiyan, specifically yellow blue, he just ignores, he doesn't care, which is great. So you can play it with ignoring the energy cost, so it will come in standing. The Goku does the exact same thing as well when you remove it from the drop, only it will search the deck for a 3-drop Vegeta, which you'll either grab this Vegeta or this Vegeta. Now, this Vegeta Counter-Strike is, I think, an underrated sleeper card of the deck. It's really awesome. First off, it has critical. If your leader is Gogeta or Goku Vegeta, or I'm sorry, if it's got to be Goku Vegeta or your Z leader. It can't just be the regular front side leader. He'll gain 15k, so he's a 20k on both turns. Critical striker. We love critical. But what makes him really cool is when this guy goes from the drop to the warp, he will actually get, you tap 1, you can play him out, and then when he hits the board, he will bot deck a 4-drop on your opponent's side of the board. It's really cool because that's like instant. It's not going to take, like the end of your turn, which is what the Goku does. The Goku, which we'll get to, plays at the end of your turn or the start of your opponent's. One or the other. I can't remember. We'll see it here in a second. So that's really cool. But the other thing, which I'm just noticing as well, you actually, when you tap 1, you would choose your opponent's battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less, bot deck it, then play this guy. So even if your opponent counterplays it, you're still going to get your effect, which is really cool because that resolves first. So really cool guy. Love this card. Next, you have SS2 Son Goku Counter-Strike. I don't think I've ever actually used him, like, ever. He's really just in here for the fusion material, and, like, that's kind of it. But he has blocker instead of critical. He'll climb up to 20k as well. And then what he does is you'll choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, then you play this card from your warp at the end of the turn. So like if you need to go into the next turn with a blocker, he's really good. I haven't really had a need for that. Like I just haven't. Any of the testing that I've done so far. So he kind of just sits here as combo power and as fusion material. So I would say he's not nearly as good as Vegeta, personally. Next, we were running 2 Sun Gohan Power Reclaims. This deck, I wouldn't necessarily say struggles for removal, but like you want to give yourself different ways to remove cards. So that's why I have 2 of this guy in here. You could bump him up to 3, maybe even 4 if you wanted to. That gets a little questionable, I think, at 4, but you could bump him up. But I would definitely have at least 2. So for those of you guys who don't know what he does, he's got Deflect, triple attack, and then when he's played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and you just bot deck it. Doesn't matter what it is. Obviously, it doesn't ignore barrier, but like, doesn't matter what the card is, bot deck it. He also has other auto. If you use him in a combo, you pay 1 blue, and you put him in your Z energy, then you can bot deck one of your opponent's 5 drops or less. This deck has a lot of, like, in the battle step, just getting rid of cards. Like, that happens between this guy, between our super combos, which I'll show you guys when we get there, between our SS3 Gokus. This deck has a lot of ways to get rid of things before they either become threats or before your opponent can really, like, capitalize on them, which is one of my favorite things about this deck thus far. Then, of course, his activate battle, limit 1. You pay 3, you play this guy. So you can do all kinds of Aegis shenanigans and, like, play a bunch of stuff on your opponent's turn with these activate battles because of Aegis. It's disgusting. It's really weird. And every time I do it, I feel like I'm cheating or like something isn't happening right. Because the amount of energy you can restand with this deck, and the amount of just, again, shenanigans you can pull off with these removal cards mid-battle is wild. But yeah, we're running 2 of this guy. I think he's awesome. And plus, he is one of the few 0 combo cost cards in the deck, which that is something this deck struggles with. Next, okay, so I think this is like the best card in the set, easily, especially if we're talking about SRs. So this is the SS3 Goku, Premonitions of Battle. So this guy's got Energy Exhaust, which because of our leader, we could care less. You may I charge him sometimes because I don't really need to play 4 of him in a game. If I need to play 4 of him in one game, I've probably done something wrong. Something has gone amiss. So I generally don't play 4 of him in a single game. But he's got energy deflect, or he's got energy exhaust, he's got deflect, and he's got double strike. His permanent has been eroded, so essentially he's only a free combo cost, like he's only a free 5k when he's on board, and of course he has to be standing. Now I'm actually gonna go with his activate main / battle, which is important first. So you pay 2 energy, doesn't matter what color it is. You drop this guy on the board, you draw a card. Simple, right? But pay attention to the fact that it's 2 energy, it's activate battle or main. So on your opponent's turn, after you Aegis, you could play this guy mid-battle, get rid of an attacker or something. Or on your turn with your Z leader, which we'll get to, which basically gives you Aegis on your turn, you can restand 2 and play this guy. Also note that he's not unique, which I think is absurd. So he's only a limit 1. So you could play one on your turn. If you have another one, you could play one on your opponent's turn, and it's fine. I don't know why they didn't make this guy unique, because he's gross. So his auto, when this guy comes down, if your leader is a blue or yellow Saiyan, which it obviously is, like that part is kind of irrelevant. If it's blue or yellow Saiyan, you drop this guy. When this card is played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards. You switch it to rest mode. Doesn't matter what the card is. Doesn't matter about their level, anything. Just switch it to rest mode. Obviously, it doesn't ignore barrier. And then you can choose one of your opponent's 5-drop battle cards, 5 or less, and you will bot deck it. So that's insane because you can theoretically get rid of 2 threats, right? You can tap something out that's going to be a problem. Maybe it's a double, triple strike or whatever. Something that's going to be an issue. Tap that down, get rid of that, and then choose something else. Like maybe it's a thwart, like it's a blocker, whatever it is, a 5-drop, bot deck it, get rid of it. That's insanely good. Like, insanely good. I'm surprised that there isn't any other kind of restrictions on this guy. Now, granted, he doesn't have barrier. He just has deflect. Your opponent can deal with him, like, after the turn he's played. After the turn he's played, he kind of is just a 25k double striker, which is still good. But, like, after he's played, he kind of just sits there. But who cares, right? Because you could potentially get rid of 2 threats. So, phenomenal card. Like, run it at 4. I run it at 4. That's all I gotta say. Veku. So, Veku come back from defeat. I think he's a pretty good card, personally. He's got Energy Exhaust, Deflect. He's got Aegis, so this is going to start your whole other shenanigans in the deck. I also just realized I didn't go over the leader abilities. We can, like, go back to that. Most of you guys who are looking at this profile probably already know what the leader does, but we'll go back to that. Sorry about that, guys. Dragon Ball deck profiles for me are always different because, like, they just have a different flow than when I do Digimon ones. So this is, like, literally the second one I think we've done on the channel. Veku. So he's got Union Fusion, of course. It's going to be your Gokus and your Vegetas. They have to have 5k, and I believe they do have to be yellow or blue. Again, just a Goku and a Vegeta. It doesn't really matter for the purposes of this deck. Like, the targets are obvious. When this guy is played, he gains Barrier until the end of your opponent's turn, which is phenomenal. So you should be able to Aegis if your opponent attacks, no matter what, on their turn because of that Barrier. And it's like it's really good. Next, when you Aegis, right? When you activate this when you activate an Aegis, you can put this guy in the warp. Then you can search your warp for one Goku and a Vegeta. You put one at the bottom of the deck and one of your hand in your hand. Mind you, you've probably already searched for another Goku and a Vegeta from these two guys over here. So you're like adding potentially 3 cards to your hand if everything goes well with that combo, and you're just infinitely having Gokus and Vegetas in your hand. Maybe not infinitely, but consistently. So this Veku is great. I usually, on my turn 2 when I play him, because you have to have 2 or more energy, I'll swing with him just because, like, I could care less if he's tapped on my opponent's turn because he's going to have Barrier. And if you swing at him, I can just Aegis, send away my Gokus and Vegetas, then activate his effect, put him in the warp. So now your attack is just fizzled. And I get to restand my 2 energy, and I get my Goku and a Vegeta back. So I don't really care. So usually, like, turn 2, I just use him to swing. I don't really expect him to last past, like, turn 3. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. But he's a great card, and I think he's, like, pretty essential to the deck. There's another Veku that we'll talk about somewhere in here, but we'll get to him later. Next, Gogeta. This dude is also disgusting. He's really good. He's a turn 4 play, but with this deck, you should get to turn 4 almost every game at minimum, because there's so many ways to outlast your opponent. But anyway, this is the SS Gogeta sparking to the utmost limit. So he's got Exhaust, or Energy Exhaust, Deflect, Double Strike, Blocker, Aegis. Whew. And then he's got the same fusion requirements as Veku. So it'll be your 5k Gokus and Vegetas, 1 blue, 1 yellow. Doesn't really matter about the color. Because it's going to be these guys that are... I'm pointing like you guys can see, but it's going to be these guys anyway. So you're going to grab 2 of them. Then you draw 2, which is awesome. So you get to put some stuff back in your hand after you play this guy. Then his other auto, when he's played, he will basically gain what I've been calling Super Barrier. Got that from the Lookout. That's how they described it. So when this guy's played, he can't be removed from the battle area by my opponent's skills until the end of the next turn. So even if they negate his skills, he still has that blanket effect that he was given until the end of your opponent's turn, which is really cool and really freaking helpful because it will allow him to exist a little longer. They might be able to, like, let's say they negate his other autos. That's fine because he will still be on the board as a 35k double striker when it comes back to my turn. Now, his other auto is really gross. So if an energy is restood, which this is all the deck does, so you will be restanding a lot of energy. When you restand an energy once per turn, you can tap down one of your opponent's battle cards or unisons and then unsuspend this guy. So you could get like 2 blocks out of him. You could tap down one of their battle cards, one of their unisons, and prevent another attack. He's got like a baby effect of the SCR, which might be the next card in this menagerie of cards here. So he's really good. I only run him at 3 though, just because you draw so much. I don't think I need a 4th. You could do a 4th. I don't think you need it, but if you wanted to, you could. Yes, the SCR. Obviously, he's a 1-of. This dude is insane. Can we? Yeah, there we go. We can pull up the cards. You know, I just realized we could do that. This guy is stupid good. So he's got Ultimate, of course, Energy Exhaust. He's Blocker. He's Union Fusion. It's going to be blue or yellow. Not both. So he's going to cost you 1 for your SCR on turn 3. That's gross. That's gross. That's really all I have to say about that. And I also just noticed that it's not color restrictive for your Goku and your Vegeta. That's interesting. As long as your leader is blue or yellow. Huh. Anyway, so you pay the 1. You get this guy out. He's got Aegis. Then his permanent. This card can't be removed from your battle area by your opponent's skills. And you can activate this card's Aegis by sending 1 card from your opponent's hand to the bottom of the deck. Instead of discarding a card from your hand. So you can make your opponent pay the tax for your Aegis. That's really good. Now, there might be times where, like, the one-off time where you don't want to do that because you want to put your stuff in your warp so you can do your other shenanigans. So, like, that can happen. But his permanent also means that your opponent's not doing anything to this guy, right? Like, you basically have to just stop him from hitting the board, which I don't really know many cards that can, just because I don't know every card in the card pool, right? But generally speaking, you're going to play this guy, and your opponent's just going to go, well, shit. How do I get rid of him? And the only way they're really going to get rid of him is by negating his skills and then getting rid of him, which is definitely possible. Or they're going to have to neg him from 40k to 0 to kill him. So, obviously, he's a pain to deal with. Now, his other auto, it gets worse, zombie. When an energy is switched to active mode by a skill, one of my energy, choose up to one of my opponent's cards, ignoring barrier, switch to the rest mode, then make this guy active mode. So you can switch out an energy, you can switch down their leader, any card on their board, you could switch it down, you can switch it to rest mode. That's really, really good. I don't think I need to explain why. It's a really good card, and of course, because it's an auto once per turn, it will trigger on either player's turns. Now, something to keep in mind, though, with his effect, right? If he's already standing, okay, and you switch up an energy, you can't be like, I won't activate it now, I'll activate it later. It's going to automatically trigger. So you're going to miss out on being able to restand. Yes, you can switch your opponent's card down to rest mode, but you may want to consider going into your opponent's turn with him tapped, or like trying to find a way to maximize the amount of times he can swing or block. Obviously, depending on matchups, you may have to kind of think that through a little differently, but that's just something to keep in mind, that that's how that would work. All right. Next card. Dimension Magic. 4 of. Easy. You negate the attack. Switch up to energy. The switching up of energy will proc your Gogeta, Fusion Reborn, and then your Sparking Utmost Limit. So you could, like, theoretically, if you for some reason had this Gogeta, both of them out, you could demagic to negate the attack. Then you could switch down, like, I don't know, their leader or some other threat with the SCR. You could switch down something else with this guy. So you could effectively stop 3 attacks at once with 1 demagic if you have both these guys out. And then, of course, you can restand your blockers, too. So there's a lot of shenanigans from these demagics. I would not even think about running them anything less than 4, personally. Next, Senzu Bean. So I really want to run this as 4 in the deck, the final version of the deck, but it could change. I've seen some people run it at 3. I've seen some people run it at 2. A few people run it at 4. I want to try it at 4 because, again, of the ability to restand energy and just basically being able to continue doing defensive plays on your turn, on your opponent's turn, I should say, because obviously you can take advantage of this Goku doing that. You can take advantage of these guys because of that. More D-Magics. This will also give you 5k for the turn. So, like, you could keep playing Senzus and giving yourself an additional 5k on your leader or Z leader. So I just want to try it at 4. I don't know if it's going to be great. It could be. I feel like at 2 right now, I'm not seeing it enough. Believe it or not. Next, Soul Punisher. This, I just have as a 1 of. You could maybe run it at 2. I don't think that would be a bad idea. Soul Punisher, it's old as hell. But this card's activate battle if your leader is a Gogeta, which your Z leader will be. That guy will gain 15k power and critical. That explains itself. Like, you could really use that on your kill turn, which is turn 5, which we'll get into in a bit. And just say, cool, I'm going to triple strike 50k, 65k crit. Like, what is your opponent gonna do that if they don't negate it the first time? It's a 65k total swing on your kill turn. Or if you just want to get in a sneaky one-shot crit, you could be like, all right, cool, my leader is 35k crit just from this, and I probably have other stuff I can do. So this is good. And I think also, let me view it in bigger. Yeah, you could also use this defensively as well. So like if your opponent's swinging into you and you don't have a way to climb for whatever reason or negate, you could also use this just to go up to 35. So it has double uses there. All right, this guy. I don't know if he's really necessary. Honestly, I think you could swap him out for a million different cards. But this Goku Black will go over him. So Mortals will be gone. He's got double strike. And then when this guy's played, you draw a card. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards at 4 cost or less. Bot deck it. And then he's an activate battle. You pay 1. Your leader is blue. And you have 3 or more Z energy. You play this guy. Now, he's like a baby version of the SS3 Goku. The only difficulty is getting 3 Z energy. It doesn't happen as much as you'd think, because you're spending the 1 for your Soul Punisher. You're spending 2 for your Z leader. And then after that, you're not really Z charging all that much, right? Like after that, you're putting most of the stuff in your drop so you can pull more shenanigans with the Aegis. You are using like maybe super combos and very specific cards in combos. This deck struggles with combo power, so getting things in your Z energy is difficult. So I've generally used this guy for the 5k combo power he has, to use him in a combo, or to use him just as a charge piece, because why not? So it can come up, but like it's super situational. And oftentimes the other cards in our Z deck, which I'll get to, I will play them and not really worry about getting out Goku Black, because getting 3 Z energy just doesn't happen in the same way like I would have thought. So that's just that. Next. Okay, so this guy could really be swapped in for the grade 8 baby. I don't have any, so I put this guy in the deck. I think either is fine, because ultimately this guy or the baby, the grade 8 baby, I think Golden Avenger, the whole point is I'm going to win this turn. I just need a counter. I don't really care that it has critical. I don't really care that it ignores barrier and bot decks an opponent's card. I'm really just looking at him because he's a counter body. Baby does the same thing and is arguably the better card. They're both searchable because they're both considered Saiyans, because they are. So you can search them off your leader. Yeah, I mean, really, again, the most important thing about this guy is he's a counter. Yes, he'll cost you 5, but for your turn 5 turn, you don't care about that. We'll get into that when we get to Soul Punisher, but because you can restand 2 energy as long as you have somebody with Aegis on the board, with your Gogeta leader, you'll be able to do your whole kill turn. So that's all it is. It's just to enable kill turn. That's it. Kefla. All right. So this Kefla, this version is expensive, guys, so don't worry about trying to get this one, the winter version. If you can get your hands on like the regular version, do that. But this Kefla has energy barrier. She's got energy exhaust and barrier. When she's played, you draw a card. When she's in rest mode, your opponent attacks your leader. You get to switch one of your opponent's energy into rest mode. So again, you're just tapping resources out of your opponent, which is always good. And then you just pay 1 yellow and 1 blue to player from your hand. See, searchable. Just a really good way to slow down your opponent's offensive. And I think it's just a good card, but you don't need to run this. You could always swap it for the other like high speed Kefla. She's an 8-drop. It's just another really good card. I think that one has a rival as well. That's one I need to test. I just haven't yet. Next, now this Kefla, I used to run at 4 as our super combo. I actually split the super combos 2 and 2, but I definitely think that like you should look at this card. The traditional Vegeta that bot decks and draws 2 is fine, but I think that these guys are better. So, what she does if your leader is blue or yellow, which you have, at the end of the battle, which this card was using a combo, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and bot deck it. It does not matter what level it is, how much power it's got. You just bot deck it at the end of the battle. So that can be really helpful for just getting rid of stuff. as we know from before, with our SCR and our other Gogeta, we can tap down your opponent's stuff. With our Goku, you can tap down our opponent's stuff. So you could just tap down future threats and then use her to get rid of it, like just outright. So her being able to do that is really good, because our removal in this deck is pretty odd. What's up, Dan? How are you, man? So Dan's in the Discord. We'll finish going through these 3 cards real quick, or these couple cards, and then we are gonna be running games with Dan here in a minute, testing this out. Then we have Veku, the strongest failed warrior. Really good card. This is the one that I need to get in the mail. It should be here by like in the next couple of days. He's got energy exhaust, deflect, Aegis, same fusion requirements as the other Veku. Then when he's played though, he's gonna he's gonna switch one of your opponent's 3 drops into rest mode, and then this guy can't be KO'd until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's kind of like a pseudo super barrier. It can be removed from the board, like bot decked or something. It just can't be KO'd, which is great. Next, when you activate Aegis, he actually allows you to use one of your 500 combo cards from the drop as like a combo piece. So if you want to keep him alive or somebody else alive, you could steal something from your drop, use it in a combo, and then you can put it in your Z energy. So if you want a Z charge, you could do it that way. But I'm running him only at 2, just to kind of test it out and see how we like it. Next, this guy is disgustingly fun to play. I do not care for Goku Black as a character, but I can admit this guy is really good. So this is he's a 2-drop. He'll cost you 1 yellow, 1 blue, which is really easy with this deck. He'll negate the attack, then he'll play. But then when he's played, he will either switch up 2 or more, he'll either switch up 2 of your blue energy, which is great because energy is basically, it makes it a free negate. Or if your opponent has 3 energy or less, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and put it in their energy and rest mode. I like never do this. This has never come up for me. I always use it as a free negate. That's what I use it for. And then once he's on the board, he's just kind of a body that's just there. He's not going to do anything for you other than be combo power. You have to pay 1 for it, which sucks. But he's a negate. And he switches up energy. Your whole deck likes when you switch up energy. So, that's that. Next, the other half of our super combos. So this Zamasu. 10k super combo. If your leader is blue or yellow, which it is, when this guy is using a combo from your hand, you choose one of your opponent's leaders or battle cards, switch it to rest mode. We love switching things to rest mode. You can combo this guy with the Kefla. You can use this guy in a combo, switch something to rest mode. Then at the end of the battle, take the Kefla, just take that thing you put in the rest mode, put it at the bottom of the deck. Really cool way to like use these cards. You could consider using them still, like not like this in a 2-2 spread. You could do like a 3-1 spread. You could just do all 4 of either one. I think there's a lot of playability here. I just added this to the deck like a couple days ago. All right. So we're going to just quickly do the leader real quick because I realized I didn't do this before. So for those of you guys who don't know what the leader does, phenomenal leader. His permanent is he negates energy exhaust skill on your blue-yellow multicolored Saiyan cards in all areas, which we love. Then his activate main, you'll take a life. You'll look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add a blue or yellow Saiyan, meaning you can grab your SCR for free. Like, you can grab whatever Saiyan you want, which is great. You can literally grab any battle card in this deck, as I look through it again, except for Zamasu. So, you can get whatever you want. Then he awakens when you have 5 or less energy, or 5 or less life, which is really easy. You could do that by, depending on your opponent's actions, by turn 3. It's an easy thing to do. Then you just draw 2 cards, and you won't be able to add cards from to your energy area by effects for the rest of the game. That's fine. On the Awakened side, his permanent is the exact same. His auto, when this guy attacks, you draw a card, take a life, if you want to. Then his activate main, you pay 1 blue, you draw a card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 4 or less, and add it to the hand. Very cool. Very, very good leader. Like, very good leader. Now, it might be hard because you're going to be playing at like 3 life for the entirety of the game. But I promise you, the anxiety you feel of having being 3 cards away from death, it's still not that bad. All right. Then we're going to get to the Z deck real quick. There is no side deck yet because I just haven't built it. Soul Punisher, gotta be the most important Z card in the entire deck. You must play this turn 2. Like, you must play this turn 2, okay? So if your leader is blue, or if your leader is who your leader is, when you activate Aegis, you send one card, one yellow and one blue from your drop to the warp instead of discarding from your hand. We love that. That's amazing. His activate battle. This is your turn 5 kill condition. So you pay 1 blue, 1 yellow, which you will be able to restand on your turn with your Z leader, which is awesome. If you have 5 or more energy and your blue Gogeta Z leader is attacking, you remove that card from the game, and then your leader gains 30k power and triple strike. So you're stringing 50k triple strike. I don't know what your opponent is going to do against that. If they had their negate countered, or they just did negate. This is gross. So turn 5, you should be winning. Or pretty damn close. Your Z leader. Love this guy. So you just pay 1 energy, 1 blue, and then you pay 2 Z energy, which is very easy to do by the time you get around to this. When you union into a Gogeta, specifically, he's got to be multicolor Gogeta, you will draw 1, then you'll choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. You'll bot deck it, so that's great. If they drop more Gogetas, this effect will become even better if there's more Gogetas to choose from, and because you can't do Vekus, unless I don't think any of the Vekus count as Gogeta. So that's awesome. Then when this guy attacks, you draw a card. Then his activate battle. This is probably the most important activate battle that he's got, or one of the most important activate battles in the deck. If it's your turn and you have a Gogeta or a Veku on your board with Aegis in play, and you send 1 blue and 1 yellow card from your drop to the warp, switch up 2 of your energy to active mode. Basically, it's Aegis on your turn. Stupid. Stupid good. Alright. Then we're running Beerus, Area Annihilator. I mean, standard blue, really good guy. Especially because you'll be restanding so much energy, you can keep using his abilities. Then we've got Cell. You'll probably never play this guy, but he's in there just in case. It just probably won't come up. Then you've got Janemba. This guy is surprisingly really good, especially turn 4. So if your leader's blue, which it is, and you have a Z extra card in your battle area, which you will because it's Soul Punisher, you reduce the cost by 1. So it'll be 1 and 1 to play this guy. When he's played, you bot deck a 3-drop on your opponent's board. If you have 4 or more energy, and something on your opponent's board got bot decked, you'll switch up 1 energy at the end of the turn. So you could do this to switch your SCR into active mode, assuming you hadn't done it already, or your other Gogeta. And it's just nice little spot removal for something that might be annoying. And then lastly, we have this Goku, the blue Goku Evolved Defender. He's got Deflect Barrier. When he's played, choose one of your opponent's leaders, unisons, or battle cards in rest mode. It can't attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. So basically, this is a great stall card. We like doing that. And then if this guy's in rest mode, when your opponent plays a card, you can place 1 of your Z energy in the drop. Then you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and rest it. And yeah, it's the other way to just negate down attacks. So that's the deck. We'll probably be doing like an updated profile after we've played this version. But without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into these games with Dan. For those of you guys watching the YouTube version of this video, there will be a link somewhere to the actual game we're about to have. And let's just go ahead and transition over to that right now.